Welcome to Heartspeak Podcast, episode 52, Psychic Safety. Many of you may know that I was brought up among psychics and mediums or channelers, whatever we want to call people with these extrasensory perceptions, sixth sense. And I was lucky enough to be trained or taken to developmental classes where I learned about how to create healthy psychic emotional boundaries, how to know when to give advice and when to keep quiet, how to know what was my energy and what is someone else's, and how to know who am I working with, what guidance or system am I working with, whether to trust it. And I was very fortunate to be taken there, often by my mother, who was very intuitive and psychic herself. And she would very much be the person who would say, no, that person doesn't know it themselves, so we're going to find someone else. And we have two amazing organizations in Great Britain, the Spiritual Association of Great Britain and the College of Psychic Studies, both of which are very old colleges of psychic understanding, development of your psychic awareness. And they were created in order to understand life after death, or the spirit world as we might call it. And I feel blessed that I had my mother by my side and I had these colleges to guide me. I tried everything in my time. I did some automatic writing, I did some trance mediumship. It didn't work so well because taking that energy into my body, my heart was going so fast, I didn't know if I could survive the time in which I was giving my reading, my channeled reading. So I said, no, we have to find another way of working together. But I'm joking, and some of this may be very new to some of you. But the truth is, I want you to know that I have been there. I have been intuitive all my life. I've always been able to read energies. I've always been able to listen to my inner guidance. But I've also had to learn what it is to be psychic, what it is to be a safe psychic, and what it is to make sure that any information maybe you're sharing with others is also pure and true and not affected by my own or your own energy. Where is our ego getting in the way? And this became really important because just recently I've been working with people where there is a psychic sensitivity. But what I've come to understand over the many years of traveling the world is that many people are using those psychic gifts without ever having any psychic training, or maybe even not admitting to the fact that they have those gifts. And I'm using the word admitting because there are those who I say, do you know that you read other people? Do you know that you're psychic? And they go, no. And then there are others who know they're doing this, but they don't own up to it. And that's just as difficult for me to be around someone who is not owning a gift, but knows they're using it, as it is for someone who's not owning it. So I want to speak to all of you, whether you believe you're psychic, whether you have a sense of it, but you may not want to necessarily let anybody else know, or whether you are already trained as a psychic and a healer, but may want to just make sure that what you're doing is pure, with integrity, and doesn't have your own ego involved with this. Okay, we're going to move forward from there. So there are different levels in which we consider ourselves to be intuitive or psychic. And let me just make the difference. Some people let me just make the difference this way. First of all, to be psychic is to be able to receive information. To be intuitive is to know what to do with that information when you've got it. So the ability to receive information may come through the solar plexus, this energy center just below the ribs, may come through your third eye, which is a place where we can certainly see people, sense what's going on, or it may come through the crown chakra, where we have an awareness of information that's maybe reaching us and that we are going to express through our throat chakra. Now, that's a way of receiving information. What we do with that information is very much connected to the heart and the third eye. And you may say, well, I receive information through my heart. I'd like to say that that's a primary place where we receive information, but a lot of our own inner work has to be done to make sure that that is pure and isn't affected by the solar plexus. In other words, we may say, oh, I feel that this is the best thing I can tell you from my heart, but the solar plexus, with its need to be needed, its need to be loved, its need to be liked, may often get in the way of what we consider loving information. With me so far? I hope you are. Let's try and break this down. When people talk about being a medium, they often mean that they are both a psychic, they pick up information, and the medium is I am an intermediary between the spirit world and you. And so I am acting as this intermediary. So a medium may use their psychic gifts to receive information from all these different places. And hopefully they're using their intuitive gifts to know what is the wisest way of sharing this knowledge, what is the most loving way of sharing it. All right, so being a medium is that you can connect with consciousness, information, guidance, spirit awareness, whatever you want to call it, that is, we say, outside our three-dimensional world. So we say everything I can see and feel and touch, so touch, smell, taste, is all part of our three-dimensional world. Our psychic gifts, our mediumistic gifts, often use what we call our six senses. And these include clairvoyance, my ability to see beyond my physical seeing. Clairaudience, my ability to hear beyond my ordinary hearing. Clairsentience, my ability to feel beyond my normal sense of feeling. Then there's even a clairnosmos, my ability to smell or taste beyond my normal sense of taste and smell. They're what we call our six senses. Make sense? Good. So when we hear something, we say, oh, that's reality, that's in this physical world. But when we hear something that appears to come just into our mind, that's the clairaudience. So say if you see something, you may say, oh yes, this I'm seeing it, this is a tree, it's got this color, the birds are in it. And then you say, well, actually I'm seeing beyond that, I'm seeing it with my clairvoyant eyes. Now, for those of you who are very clever, you'll say, what's the difference? And I'll say, that's the problem. Because often we'll see something that is actually being seen through our clairvoyant eyes, but we think it's coming from the physical world. Let's not go there too much. But as a child, I'll say, I could see many, many layers, of how the best way of describing me, of this individual who was talking to me. Sometimes it wasn't layers, but they seemed to be in different dimensions. And I would now call these their subpersonalities or parts of them from a past life. And I didn't know that this wasn't real. And some of you may have seen colors around people, or you may have seen different aspects of an individual when you talk to them as a child. Or you may have seen the fairy world, the little people, as a child. And more commonly, we see these as children, and we then maybe have that knocked out of us. Fortunately, I didn't, but we're told, you know, don't talk about that. So as a child, sometimes it's very confusing. Am I seeing with my physical eyes? Am I seeing with my clairvoyant eyes? So I wanted just to clarify that it's not always so clear cut. But as we go into our life, when we get beyond the age of 7 or 8, we have to make this distinction, otherwise we go crazy. And so many times that's a time where you stop seeing your little friends, or you stop seeing things, or you stop hearing things, because you have to live in this world fully. I didn't have that. I continued to be able to see and feel things. But what I learned to do was to faint when anybody was coming towards me who was suffering from their subpersonalities. Again, a different story. I just wanted to say it's not always so clear cut. All right. The level that many of us tap into is what we call the astral world, or our astral body. So if you imagine that we have a physical world, the next level is the etheric world, which is really just an electromagnetic world that holds everything in place. And then the next level would be our astral body, and that is part of the astral world. So if I was to look at your aura, I could sense your astral body around you, somewhere around 4 inches out from your body. And that is very much the world where we carry our emotions, our psychic awareness, our psychic tendencies. And that can carry with us from one life to another life. The place in which that enters into our awareness is through our solar plexus, or vice versa. The interface, that would be a good word, between our inner and outer worlds is the solar plexus for these emotional psychic awarenesses. All right? So the solar plexus, as I've described before, is like a big satellite dish. And if you're brought up with a very functional family where there's everything that's spoken is true, or there's no addiction, or there's no abuse, or there's no passive aggression, then we develop a healthy solar plexus where we go, I know I'm okay, I know you're okay, we know our own boundaries, I feel good about myself, I like myself, and I like you, but we are different people. That's a healthy solar plexus, which I'm sure all of you have. Ha ha ha, that's my sarcasm. Most of us do not have good boundaries between our emotions, my emotions, and someone else's emotions. And if you have within your astrology chart lots of water, Cancer, the sign of Cancer, the sign of Scorpio, the sign of Pisces, or Virgo, you will constantly be picking up energy of other people around you, partly so that you can create a safe space for yourself, and partly to help other people. Why am I saying that? So if your solar plexus is reading the room, it's not all just about, oh, I just want to be psychic. It's about, am I safe? What do I need to do? How do I need to change myself in order to be liked? Because the solar plexus is all about being liked, being okay, my own personal power. I'm in my space, you're in yours. But when there is dysfunction, I reach out into your world and I pick up what needs to happen, or what do I need to do in order for you to be happy, or for you to have a better life, or for you to not hurt me, or for you to not criticize me. So the solar plexus, yes, is about other people, but it all comes back to us. How can I make myself feel better? How can I not live in fear? How can I not be criticized? Therefore, when we pick up information through our psychic center, our solar plexus, it is often relating to previous hurts and disappointments. It's watching out. Where's that type of person that would hurt me again? Where is someone crying, and if I don't stop them crying, they're going to make me unhappy? Where have I got to make someone else's world better, because then I'll feel secure? And that's the work we all need to do as psychics, which is, do I know what I am receiving? What am I doing to receive this information? Why do I need this information? All right? So knowing yourself, doing your work is really important. Whether you're a psychic or a healer, I've heard so many times in my life, I'm just a channel for God's love. I don't have to do my own work. I just have to channel God's beautiful love. But I keep saying, if you put clear water through a rusty pipe, you get rusty water. None of us are immune from doing our own work. And the first step of psychic safety is, am I picking up energy from around me? Do I walk into a room and read everybody? Am I an observer, sitting up a tree watching everything? And do I become exhausted by certain people? This would be one sign. You know, at the end of a conversation with someone, you're going, oh, I'm exhausted, because you've been drawing in their energy. And it isn't about them, it's why do you need to do that? What are you hoping to gain? And can you feel okay about yourself without their approval, their gratitude, them being happy? Is there a you that's separate from them? So first of all, recognize you're doing it. Secondly, what am I getting out of it? And third, can I say to them, you know, I'm sensing you're not happy. Can I help you? Rather than just jumping in and fixing them. Because so many of us, especially women, feel the pain, jump in and do something. Are you a fixer? Are you responsible for everybody? Do you need to fix? Do you need to change people? Even if, and here's the cut for this, even if that fixing is subconscious or subliminal or in the underworld. In other words, as a Piscean, and I'm not a Piscean, but Pisceans tend to merge with other people's energy, read what's going on and what's needed, and literally manifest a world for them and put the person in that world so that they will be happy and the Piscean doesn't have to feel so bad. Are you trying to create worlds for other people? Are you trying to fix other people's pains? Because that is manipulation. That's emotional manipulation. And it is not okay. Now you might say, oh, but I only love them. No, you have to ask permission. So here's my next statement. If you're not asked permission, don't do it. Keep out of other people's heads. Keep out of other people's psychic awareness. It's not yours. Oh, but you know, that's what I was trained to do. Well, then ask the person. I don't believe in distant prayer. Now, some of you are going to go, oh my goodness, that's what I was trained in. But to me, you saying, oh, I asked your higher self for permission and it said yes, I don't believe you. That can just be part of your psyche saying, I have a right to step in and out of other people's energy. You don't. Sacred space is sacred. Respect it, honor it, and ask permission. And don't say, oh, I asked them through my mind and they said yes. Physically ask permission. Do you want me to pray for you? If so, I'm going to pray at this time of the day for this long, and I want you to be aware of my prayers. That's the best type of absent healing or absent prayers. Even if the person does not necessarily or is not able to be present, let's say they're very sick, you can get a surrogate to actually be present for that person. I personally do not believe for praying for someone because it is really hard for us to keep our intention out of other people's business. And it is their business. And it's even worse when we care for that person. I hope you get better. I really hope you get better. I remember this gentleman who had really a bad car accident. He had a 50-50 chance of survival. And his wife came to me and said, what can I do? I've been praying. I said, go there, say to him, he was unconscious, I release you to whatever your soul needs to do. She said that. Following day, he woke up from his coma and he recovered. So the best prayer you can do is releasing yourself, backing off, get out of other people's worlds. It doesn't mean you don't love them, but you love them so much that you're not going to interfere with their journey. Make sense? Okay. So let me then move forward. This is all solar plexus. It really is so inherent in us to know, what am I doing in other people's space? And not to pretend that like, I didn't know I was doing that. Yes, you did. Step out, step back. Take ownership of what you're doing. What I say, grasp the head of your serpent. You may be wonderful at what you do, but you don't have a right to do it without permission of other people. And you have to do your own work. By which I mean, if you've got a scratch on your glasses, on your spectacles, you are going to see everybody through that same scratch. So if you have had bad luck with partners, then you're going to bring that same energy into your readings for other people. And that's not right. We have to be clear. We have to know what we're doing. All right. Let's move that next level, which is more to do with third eye, or maybe just bringing in information. Let's say through the crown chakra, bringing it out through the throat chakra. So here you're saying, Again, I'm not a channel necessarily for healing, but I'm a channel for information. And I've met a lot of people who say, oh, I have a message for the group. I have a message from you. And the better the message, so they say, well, this is coming from Jesus. This is coming from God. This is coming from. So what part of you even needs to say that? So I've always had guidance. I don't really ask who my guide are, because I really trust that the guide is not an individual. It's an energy. So if I want to work with the energy of love, I may bring in the energy of Jesus. Or I might want to work with the energy of the deep, deep feminine. I may bring in Mary Magdalene. But they're essences, they're archetypes, which come from the source. So when I need information, I go directly to the source. It's almost like the great library in the sky, which is just much bigger than any server we could have down here. This knowledge which goes beyond understanding. And that's why those words were said. We have that understanding sometimes, but we can't always focus it. So what am I saying? Sometimes I might get a dream or have a dream that I get a message, but I don't understand it when I wake up. It's because my limited brain power or limited thinking cannot accept or understand this bigger picture. And over weeks, it filters through, and now I'm understanding it, and I'm saying, wow, this is a reality I didn't know 3 months ago. This is how I write my books. This is how I talk. I give talks, because it's really beyond. I don't try and fit it into my narrow thinking. Alice Bailey always said, don't fit the truth into the hour, fit the hour into the truth. You might say, what does that mean? Don't try and limit the truth through your limited mind. So when I hear people talking and they say, I'm channeling this person, I'm looking for something that's extraordinary. I'm looking for something that's different. I'm not looking for the same old stuff that I've heard for all the years I've been on this planet. You're a nice person, you're going to do this, and we're all going to be, because that's already been filtered by the person's mind. Now, I may be talking to some of you saying, no, I'm a clear channel. Great. But we all have to say what is real and what is not. Where am I getting caught up in my ego? Why do I even have to talk about my guides? Why don't I just say, in the name of love and light, I open myself to this message? Which takes me to that next piece. At the time when you're opening up to spirit, you often are being woken in the middle of the night by 3 a.m. because that's the time when you're least connected to this earth. And you just feel the spirit world. Everybody wants to talk through you. If you ever saw that film Ghost, everybody comes in when someone's opened, especially when they initially open. Oh, everybody wants to talk. Mothers, fathers, brothers. Oh, I'm a medium for everybody. But you need to take control of this situation. First of all, you say, only come to me if you come in the love and the light. Only come if you come in light. And you may say, well, I don't need to do this. Yes, every one of us does. What that means is the light of my own truth. It may be different for other people. Secondly, you say, I don't want to be woken at 3 a.m. in the morning. I want to sleep. The spirit world doesn't have a sense of timing. So what you're needing to say is, hey, I'd really love being around you, but we're going to meet this time, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. This time when I will sit down maybe with my pen or my laptop and I will write what it is that you want to share with me. And if you say you're going to sit down at 9 a.m., make it 9 a.m. There's nothing worse than you calling in the spirit world at a certain time. It's not their time, it's the fact you've said I'll be there. So when you're around me and I'm teaching, I always start on time because that's the time that the spirit world and I made the agreement. So be on time. Respect the spirit world. They're going to turn up for you. But when you don't respect them, you don't get what you deserve. Or maybe you do get what you deserve. You get those spirits who really don't care as much as just want to get to be talking through you. So having intention is really important. Why am I doing this? Oh, I want to share with the world my knowledge. Great. Do you need to listen to that knowledge first? Maybe this knowledge is for you first. and not for anybody else. Maybe you need to write it and go, wow, I need to learn this. Do I have an attachment to who talks through me? Is this being coming from the light? Because in this astral world and now the mental world I'm talking about, there are many energies which is just really that you may not want to allow through your body. Why I'm saying that is out in the world, there are people you probably don't want to connect to. Well, it's no different in the spirit world. There are energies you probably wouldn't have to dinner. You wouldn't invite into your house. So be very clear that this, just because someone is in spirit, it doesn't make them holier than thou. It doesn't make them develop wings. I like to say if Uncle Fred was an idiot down here, he's probably an idiot up there. Unfair to Uncle Fred. But what I'm trying to say is we often get this, oh, well, it's coming from spirit, it must be good. No, it doesn't make a difference. There are still different aspects, different beings, different consciousnesses within the spirit world. And you want to focus on those who are going to give you the highest good for your own soul and work from the highest intention and within the right frequency that is true for you. So each of us has a different frequency. So it's intention. What is your intention for doing this? Really important. Not just, oh, I want to help people. That's not enough. How's that helping other people serving your ego? And are you able to set a rhythm, which means what is the ritual you're going to create? Maybe it's lighting a candle and sitting down at 9 a.m. with a pen and pad. What is the rhythm you are setting to have this conversation? You see, spirit world loves to talk, loves to share. I kind of make a joke, they have nothing better to do. But the fact of the matter is you want to say, let this only be for the good of those that I can help. Or let this be a purpose for me. Let me open doors for myself through what I'm hearing. And remember, it's often best to write this down because your mind is already going to filter out things that don't make sense. So be careful not to filter or change or refine things just because you don't understand them. So I think I'm finishing here. I want to say that the spirit world is always there. It always is telling me we don't ask enough for enough help. So everybody has guidance. Again, I'm not going to get into who your guides are, who mine are. That doesn't matter. But understand that there are those who want to guide you and have been with you many lifetimes. There are also members of your own family, ancestors, who are your cheerleaders for being successful this life. You're doing something that they could not achieve. So when you're working with spirit, say, help me to be clear in my intention. Help me to have clear boundaries. Help me to make sure that I do not vampire other people's energy or enter someone else's sacred space. I always say, if I'm working for my head and not my heart, shut it all down. Be clear and the spirit world will help you. But what we need to be clear about is if we are doing this, what is my ego's intention? How is that wrapped up in what I'm doing? Sometimes we have to get out of our own ways and say, I will step back. Whatever you feel I can receive just from myself is good enough. If I help other people with it, great. But this ability to actually understand that this is a power and a power that can really help others is important. But you want to make sure that those that work with you are coming from the light, coming from love, and that you are clear in your own intentions. I'm going to stop at that point. I do hope if you have any comments, please do write to me on my podcast, on the website where we also have the podcast, because I really want to help anybody who may be challenged by some of the things I'm saying. And I love discussion. I love talking with you all about these things. There are many things in heaven and earth that we don't understand. And I'm here to try to work from my heart and speak from my heart to work with you in this way. So until next time, love and blessings.
Thanks for listening to the Heart Speak podcast with Dr. Christine Page. Remember to check out other episodes in the podcast archive section on www.christinepage.com. And do share with friends, family, and colleagues. Join us next time for another edition of Heart Speak.